User involvement is a fundamental principle in participatory design, or PD, and also in other user-oriented design methods in human-computer interaction. Often, user involvement occurs through facilitated activities such as focus groups and workshops, that is, structured, designer-led events where users and other stakeholder groups can discuss, co-explore, and co-realize visions about technology with designers. The person leading such activities is typically referred to as the facilitator. Despite having a significant impact on participatory activities, processes, and outcomes, the role of the facilitator has not yet been thoroughly debated in existing design discourse, and support for role-related reflections is limited. Based on the understanding that the facilitator is one of several influential forces in the shaping of PD results, our research was motivated by the following research question. How do experienced PD facilitators understand the facilitator role, and how are their interpretations reflected in strategies guiding their practice? As a first step towards an enriched collective understanding of this specific role and its realization, we interviewed 14 respondents with an academic background in participatory design and extensive facilitation experience. The respondents were recruited through purposive sampling and represented a total of 9 universities in 6 different European countries. Transcriptions of the interviews were then analyzed for statements describing either respondents' perceptions of the facilitator role, associated responsibilities, or strategies employed to fulfill the role. A total of 6 role facets, which serve as metaphors that describe aspects of the facilitator role, were identified. The 6 identified facets were based on understandings of the facilitator as trust builder, enabler, inquirer, direction setter, value provider, and user's advocate. Each facet corresponded to a set of related responsibilities and strategies for fulfilling the respective responsibilities of that facet. Now let's take a closer look at each of the identified facets. Findings from the interviews revealed that the respondents regarded the facilitator as someone who sets the stage for the open exchange of ideas and perspectives, that is, a trust builder who reassures participants about the value of their participation. In respect to the respondents' reported strategies for preparing the participatory process, one recurring theme in the accounts was the time they often invested in interacting with participants outside of design activities in order to establish and develop facilitator-participant relations. The second aspect that emerged as central in respondents' understanding of the facilitator role was a perceived responsibility to help participants in PD activities voice their ideas, needs, and perspectives. From such a perspective, the facilitator is an enabler, one who provides the means and possibilities for participants to become actively involved. In terms of strategies for enabling active involvement, we identified 3 overall approaches: use of a common language or shared tool for expression, sensitizing, and discourse management. The third facilitator facet the analysis revealed concerned the respondents' perceived responsibility to develop a comprehensive understanding of the participants, their needs, and values. Several respondents also highlighted the facilitator's role in uncovering value dilemmas and conflicts of interest among participants in PD activities. Accordingly, parts of being a facilitator is being an inquirer. In terms of relevant strategies, respondents emphasized the inquisitiveness of probing for user insights often required from the facilitator. Rather than playing the passive part of an information gatherer, several respondents described strategies that involve taking an active role probing for user insights. The fourth role facet we identified relates to decision-making and the setting of directions in PD activities and throughout the design process. Respondents regarded the facilitator as having a particular obligation to guide the PD process and its activities towards an objective and thereby increase the likelihood that the project will effectively contribute to change. Relevant strategies in this regard included the use of materials and instructions to better align the activities with the agenda of the related project. providing the participants with concrete questions or challenges related to the problem area the project is addressing, as opposed to opening up for general discussions about the area, is another example of a direction setter strategy the respondents reported to employ. The fifth facet the respondents called attention to in their appraisal of the facilitator role concerns the perceived obligation to ensure that PD activities, in addition to benefiting the associated project, also offer value to participants. In other words, that the time and efforts that the participants put into the PD project yield some type of return of their investment. These types of responses paint a picture of the facilitator as a value provider. Providing opportunities for participants to learn the possibilities and the limitations of technology is an example of one of the value provider strategies the respondents reported using. Checking with participants concerning what they hope to achieve through their participation and later asking what they had gained from taking part is another example. The sixth facet the respondents discussed was the facilitator's role in forefronting or advocating users' perspectives and needs uncovered through PD activities. This to ensure that the outcome of PD activities would be communicated to project partners and reflected in the technical solutions in ways that align with the original user perspective emerging from the PD activities. Identified strategies involved taking the stage and negotiating the user perspective in project meetings with partners and other stakeholders. Respondents also reported inviting members of the project without direct experience from the project's PD activities to take part in future activities, thus offering partner representatives a first-hand experience. Combined, the six presented facets paint a complex picture of the PD facilitator role. The facilitator is seen as responsible both for offering value to the participants in PD activities and to ensure that the output of the activities can be effectively utilized by the associated PD project and thereby increase the project's prospects for turning imagined futures into working value-based design solutions. Realizing PD's egalitarian values also requires long-term dedication and commitment from the facilitator throughout a design process, as well as a high level of situational awareness in ongoing PD activities. We regard these overarching facilitator concerns as being strongly supportive in gaining an understanding of PD facilitation as a practice in which required skills are learned and enhanced through practice-based reflection.